Hello everyone, it's Raven here with another Total War Total Breakdown. Today we have Wulfrik the Wanderer on his Monster Hunt Let's Play by CA. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this real quick. Going to hop around here and there and just try and get through some important screens, try and find some good stuff for you. So right here, this is important. So last time I did an analysis on the tech tree and the Book of Monsters, I didn't quite know exactly what you needed to unlock those other pages. I was able to identify, all the monsters just because of the sketchings of them on the pages, but it didn't actually tell you what they were, but, it's quite apparent what they were just based on looking at them. So, if you take a look right here, it just have Monster Hunter, One with the Beast, and Master of the Beast, so you have to unlock all three of these technologies respectively to be able to open up all four of the pages, I believe it is, in the monster book. So let's actually skip forward here. So yeah, there's 4 pages, so having the first one unlocked unlocks maybe these first 2 right here, and then pages 2 and 3 probably with One with Beast, and Master of the Beast probably gives you page 4 for whatever it was at the very end. I think it was like a Terrorgeist maybe, I'm not quite sure. So right here, as you can see, you can actually get, let's go back just a couple of seconds because he highlights this at first. So the Ancient Frostworm Scale, after you complete the quest battle, after you challenge it, you get the plus 20 armor, frostbite attacks, and the ability for the Frostworm Scale on any hero or lore that you would choose, I believe. And you get that 10,000 treasury, and also allows you to unlock the Cold Voider Frostworm Regiment of Renown unit. So it will be a unit you can recruit regardless of if you kill it or don't kill it. As long as you win the battle, you get both these items and the 10,000 treasury, 10,000 resources added to your treasury. So that's really good stuff. And this added 20 armor to all the really lightly armored heroes I'm expecting, probably from like the skin wolves and stuff like that. It's probably going to be pretty advantageous to put on any of your units, because that's a pretty substantial buff. And then on top of that, if they don't have frostbite attacks, it will give them frostbite attacks, so minus 52% speed. And this vortex ability here, although it only has a 30-meter range, being able to cast it into the back lines and catch any units that are trying to flee from the fight if they're routing, or any of their squishy backline units like the archers or handgunner, stuff like that in the back, he'll catch them and debuff them quite substantially with that huge speed debuff. So I'm going to go on here and take a look at the stats for the Cold Voider. So I don't think he's actually on ultra unit size currently, so these stats, as far as health is concerned anyway, should be relatively the same when campaign is actually released for us on the 10th, and we can start doing this for ourselves. But he does have the Guardian ability right here, so I do recognize that from the video I made yesterday. So it will give a bonus physical resistance to everybody nearby. However, it does have a weakness to fire, probably 40%, because it is a frost worm. So it does have that ice weakness to it, kind of like trees are weak to fire just because you're made of wood. No, sorry for clearing my throat. I just had lunch. I'm on my lunch break, trying to pump this video out for you guys and get it out as fast as possible. So pretty good damage, and overall I think they said it was like twice the size of a normal frost worm, so very interesting stuff. We'll take a look at that at the end of the video. Just trying to hop around here and see if there's anything too crazy. Typical quest chain stuff, just raid the following region, go here, go there stuff. But actually, let's go ahead and back it up just a little bit and pinpoint Wulfrik the Wanderer right here. So he is on his mammoth mount right here. So that's probably pretty cool. So we'll take a look at his stats when he's on that mammoth when we get into the gameplay down here. And you can actually see he has one of the Famir Bale Fiends, I believe that's what they're called, with the Lure of Fire. So that's cool. So I'm excited to see him try and get thrown into melee combat or something like that, see what he can actually do, because he has monstrous damage, 400 damage with AP, and like 50 to 70 armor. I can't remember. This guy is by no means a squishy mage. They could definitely go into a fight and be able to win against a lot of different things. So that's going to be really cool stuff coming out of them. Pretty cut and dry army, just very basic, run-of-the-mill stuff. Just a couple berserkers, some what were these guys? Marauder huntsmen with the throwing javelins, and some halberdier guys right here, or polearm dudes, can't quite remember, or just basic spears. And you have a couple skin wolves. Then you have the ice troll units. So actually, they are on ultra size right now, so nobody's down to like 60 and 75 or 90, whatever, because these guys have 12, so typically they should only have 9 per unit or more. So maybe not for these guys. Not quite sure what these guys are. I think these are the Famir, not the skin wolves, so that's pretty interesting. Maybe we'll get to see some gameplay for the Famir for the first time, because they didn't show them off at all in the Let's Plays that they did when they did that stream, and they accidentally released all the Regiment of Renown info by accident. So right here, you kind of get to pick, what you're going to send out to kind of scout out for the Scion of the Cold Void, the Frostworm, excuse me. And so I'm not quite sure how it works. I think maybe one, you just have to guess which one would have a better chance of successfully finding it, and then it has a good or bad outcome. So right here, he's like, I'm thinking about it, and then he's like, you know what, fuck it. Marauder Hunters, like, they're meant for this kind of terrain or whatever, hills and all that stuff. So it says recruit the following type of unit. Well, he has them right here already, so he's like, whatever, I don't care. Actually, I think he has to do another one, so he has to actually recruit one. It doesn't just mean have it in the army. So skip forward here. So it shows right here the quest is successful, and it says that a few individuals returned, the rest had died. So that's interesting stuff. Or maybe it hadn't said that yet. Let me see. Oh, yeah, so it's just saying that they're used to these climates, like I said before, and then they'll go just fine swiftly over this place looking for them. So in a second, though, it does come back up, and it will say that we're sent out to into the mountains, but none have returned. So yeah, they all did die, but I don't know. I'm not sure what happens right here. He lost 1,000 treasury because maybe he picked the wrong option, whereas maybe if you sent out the ice trolls, the correct option, maybe it's a roll, like random if it actually succeeds or fails. I'm not quite sure. We'll have to actually test it out. Maybe he would have gotten a bonus to his treasury, maybe got more money. I'm not sure quite yet. We'll find out later on when the game comes out. Well, when this comes out for the game, excuse me. So right here it said move to this region, and as soon as he moved into this region, it's like, oh, here he is. Go over here and you can start the fight. So he's like, all right, we're gonna do that. And he starts talking about the Hound up here. So he's actually devoting to that god. So he'll actually highlight it for a second. Let's take a look at it. So after you get to 30 for the level 1 of 3, when devoting to Hound, which is Khorne for all you who don't know yet, it gives plus 10% melee damage for all melee infantry. So that'd be really good stuff for your heroes and your berserkers and all these other guys. I'm not sure if monstrous infantry get a buff from this as well, because they're still infantry, but they're monstrous infantry. So that'd be another thing just to research. So potential for them to get some bonus, but definitely going to be some huge bonuses later on. And I really want to see what happens when you get to that level 3. They've been very quiet on what it was. They blurred it out in that last video, so we'll find out. So over here, he's just going to send this army across the way and go ahead and pillage the city and turn it into a ritual site for the Hound, and then it's going to give him that 6 bonus that he needs and be able to get it to level 1, so he gets that 10% bonus damage for all of his infantry forces. So as we've seen the screen before here, you get those 6 options. So establish outpost, sack it, get that good money, or Hound, Crow, Eagle, or Serpent. And you choose which god you're going to dedicate to. So at most you can only dedicate to 2 gods, and it'd be a very, very slow build, whereas you could just go all out for 1 god, and it'd be very easy to boost that all the way up to level 3. And then from there, you just have 3 gods very angry with you, and apparently something happens at the very end of the game where the gods who are displeased with you try and destroy your forces. So we'll see exactly what happens when that outcome starts, and like what it takes for that to happen. So maybe there's just a cap. You have to reach a certain amount of cities raised, and it's like, well, that's all you have to do, or eliminate these certain settlements or factions, whatever, and then that's it, and you're done. So as you can see here, the big boss right here, the leader of this army, so you have 4 units of ice trolls with 3 frost worms. And this one, like I said, is a regiment of renown, so he's actually a rank 9 compared to these guys. So he's chevroned up by 9, so his stats will be better than everybody else's. As you can see here, this is him in the back, and he is absolutely huge. So way bigger than the other guys. As you can look at him. Look at his size compared to these other guys. He is huge. So I guess that's a good thing for all these missile troops he has in the back, all scattered about with their javelins. And if there's anybody on this war mammoth with Wulfrik on it, I'm not quite sure. And we'll just kind of listen to some cinematics a little bit. Just guys walking around.
Let the hunt begin.
The commentary was a little bit lackluster here, so I don't really care to listen to him. But we're just gonna skip forward a little bit, get into the action. So he sends out that fireball right there, and it's actually able to take out 2 of these ice trolls, because trolls have regeneration, And then ice trolls have regeneration, and they do have frostbite attacks, but since they are ice trolls, they do have that weakness to fire, so we're probably looking at like a 50 or 60% weakness to fire overall from these guys. We'll have to see exactly how much of weakness is caused by being an ice unit for these Norscan type units. So, battle kicks off here. 3 frostworms fly in, and this massive one goes in for Wulfrik the Wanderer over here. He does keep the unit cards hidden, sadly, so I don't think we're going to be able to see that. And he does activate the Ancient Worm Frost Scale ability here. So you can see it actually summons a couple little polar vortexes, and they start swirling around and freezing everybody. There they are in the background over there on the right. So it actually looks like it has 3 of them, and they kind of stay together at first, and then they start splitting off. So if you take a look at this unit right here, it's actually being hit by that by this little frost vortex, and it was doing some pretty decent damage to them because they're not in combat, and all that damage was coming from those like little ice spires. So they can see some reinforcements coming in, but all these trolls, typical of trolls, routing, really bad leadership. I think it's in the 30s or something like that, but this unit of berserkers here was torn up pretty badly, already at 87, 85 models, and 50% health just from the fact that it was being attacked by the Frostworm ability here. Even though this one is in the mix, doesn't really look like it's actually attacking these guys too much. So, not the biggest of deals. And this guy is just absolutely getting swamped, so that's unfortunate. And he does have the same little, the little purple tentacles, purple and pink tentacle, and weird little animation coming up underneath him as Sartorial, the Everwatcher, and the Chaos Dragon when it does land. And the breath attacks are still the pink and blue of Tzeentch, so that hasn't changed. They haven't reskinned it to be like an icy breath attack or anything like that. We might see like an icy breath attack come in when Warhammer 2 is announced, and they might get that for the Frostworm. We'll have to see exactly what happens, but these little polar vortex abilities are just absolutely ripping through these guys, so that's pretty unfortunate. These berserkers are getting chomped up now because of all these monstrous units that came back into the fight. So now he's going to start pulling in all of his javelins, and he's going to just start mowing down all these large units because, all of his units are quite short in comparison to all of his, except for his 2 mammoths, the feral one over here, his war mammoth over here, and then his couple Famir warriors and 1 unit of ice trolls wherever they are, right here I think maybe. And so they're not going to have a hard time, especially when trying to hit somebody like this giant frostworm being twice the size of everybody else. Like, look at him. Look at that fucking wingspan. It's absolutely massive. So, giving us a couple cinematic shots and just kind of enjoying the fight. And overall, doesn't look like that's too hard of a fight. Pretty low tier infantry and a couple decent units as far as monsters are concerned. So I'm expecting the Famir warriors, or whatever they're called, to do quite substantial work in the front lines. I haven't really got to see what they do quite yet, so I can't tell you. But, we'll have to see when the game comes out. I'll do lots of testing and obviously be fighting with this race quite a lot on ladder and see how they do in campaign as well. So this dude's just absolutely getting bombarded by all these javelins just getting chucked straight at him. So he's going to die any moment. There he goes. He just plops over. That's it. So from here, battle starts winding down. He starts trying to take out this last guy with his fireball, and I believe it does actually kill it. So, yeah. He goes down, vulnerability to fire, and that fireball actually exploding on contact did all the damage it could. So, good stuff, good stuff. And now what you should take from this is, he gets the some abilities here for the followers gains, but that's not what we really came to see. Look, and here we go. So, successfully completed this quest, got the Ancient Frostworm Scale, plus 10,000 to his treasury, and then he's going to actually recruit using his Regiments of Renown and actually sacrificing to the Hound. So every time you kill a legendary monster, you can sacrifice to a certain god, and you get a little bonus towards them. Not sure how much it actually provides. So, let me actually read what that said there. So go forward just a little bit. So the Hound shall howl with satisfaction at this sacrifice, all fear the feeding frenzy that is to come. So we'll actually see what this means later on. I'm not quite sure. I don't think he actually highlights the effects up here. Actually, it just shows it right here. So a bonus towards the Hound right here. Nothing else. And he does get that magical item. And he will recruit the Regiment of Renown right here now that he's back in friendly territory. So the Cold Voider. That sounds a little bit weird. All right. But yep, so now he's got this giant Frostworm, and it should still be double the size when we see it in the battle. So that'll be kind of cool, but that does make it a little bit more vulnerable to missile attacks, which is unfortunate. But you know what? It's it's gonna be so cool to have that guy anyways. He really cares. So that makes me interested to see like what might happen with the Terrorgeist or the Giants or the Cygors that we might be seeing, if they're just gonna make them bigger and more bulky, or if they have some sort of different stats for each one of them, or if it's different every single time. Each one has something special about them, whereas this one was just abnormally large. So we'll find out. That's pretty much it. So as always, guys, this DLC does come out on the 10th, and we'll be releasing the Regiments of Renown alongside them. We will be getting 30 units of Renown, 6 for each of the 5 races that don't have them currently. So, you know, good stuff right there. And as always, guys, leave a like if you like what you saw. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. And as always, comment down below if you'd like to criticize on anything to make this a better viewing experience for you. And as always, I'll catch y'all later.